Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. As you can see, my makeup today is very different to normal, much darker, and I have spiders on my face, and that I drew very poorly because I've never done that before, but you know, a gal's gotta try. And you might be thinking, why? It is not Halloween. What are you doing? And the answer is that it was Halloween. And I did this to film my Halloween themed video, and it's obviously still on. So here we are. It's Halloween because every day is Halloween if you wanted to, and my makeup matches my nails. Look how pretty these are. And you know, maybe it is kind of fitting because today's video is, in a word, scary. Not in the like fun way that Halloween is scary, but like it is quite scary in the very like real world scary way. I opened Instagram Reels and I got met with one of the most horrific things that I have encountered. Just, you know, chilling out in my Reels. And so naturally, I have to share that with you. And we have to have this conversation because I cannot stop thinking about it. And what that is military cadences, which I'd not really ever heard of before, but I like know the tune. It's those songs that are like, I don't know what I've been told. That's a military cadence. They're like those sort of song chant things that they sing in the military. They're like taught to them by their drill sergeants, their trainers, teachers, and their like fellow soldiers and the likes. There are dozens, probably hundreds of these songs that have been being learned and sung in the military for decades. And this is specifically the US military. I will put that out there. I don't know if these songs translate to other militaries or how far spread they are or anything. Obviously, I'm not a fan of the military, right? I think the military is bad. I think that it is unnecessarily violent, and the US military has like trillions of dollars a year put into it, and a lot of what they do is just go into other countries and try to, you know, have control. They've started a lot of conflict and are like, we're here to protect America. It's like, not really. Propaganda, yay. Anyway, because of this, right? Because of the fact that, you know, the military is a very violent place. It is something that you sign up for, and you are signing up to hurt people, effectively. I know that there's different sects of it or whatever, but you are a part of a machine that goes and kills people. You are learning ways to kill people, right? And so I expect things to come out of there to be violent. I know that they have to like desensitize these soldiers into being okay with such horrific violence. But I hadn't really thought about it that much. And I hadn't really thought about the fact that they would be doing that through song. And also, it is somehow even worse than what I would have imagined should I have imagined that this was taking place. And if you enjoy this video and want to see more like it, please do not forget to hit subscribe. Over 50% of you are regular viewers but are not subscribed. I am trying to hit 500k by the end of the year, and I was on track for that, but in the past couple of months, my monthly subscriber increase has like drastically declined. So if you are not subscribed, please do. It really helps me out, and I really would like to achieve that by the end of the year. So I really do appreciate it. Let's have a look at some of the horrifying things that they are singing in the military. I'm actually going to start with the worst one. And the reason I'm going to start with the worst one is because this is the first one I saw. This is the one that I stumbled upon that introduced me into the world of military cadences. If it had to be my harsh introduction, it also has to be your harsh introduction. To put in perspective just how bad this one is, I'm gonna have to put a trigger warning here for sexual abuse. So if that's gonna be triggering for you, please jump to this timestamp here because we're going to listen to it and then we're going to have a conversation. So this one is called My Girl is a Vegetable. So this got copyrighted, which I kind of expected but was hoping would not happen, and I don't really feel comfortable singing these lyrics, so I am just gonna read them for you. I'll sing the first line just so you get the like gist of what the military cadence is. So it's, my girl's a vegetable, she lives in a hospital, and I would do anything to keep her alive. My girl's got no arms or legs, just a couple wooden pegs, and I would do anything to keep her alive. My girl's got tele-TV, it's called an EKG, and I would do anything to keep her alive. Sometimes I like to joke, hold the plug and watch her choke. So, you know, what the fuck? Oh my god. And I thought that he made this up, right? He's put it on a CD. I thought that he just had a real fucked up sense of humor and he made this up. And he is a bad person with a fucked up sense of humor who is joking about such things. And then I discovered that actually, no, this is a real thing. There are people in the comments talking about how it's a real thing that they learned. And I also then Googled it being like, there's no way. There's no way this is real. I'm sorry. There's no fucking way that this is a real thing that is being sung in the military and like taught to people. It is. And not only is this real, but it actually, believe it or not, gets so much worse. This is the tame version. This is the mild version, the PG-13 version, if you will. And when I found the other verses, because they are interchangeable, I quite honestly have never been so shocked in my life. And again, maybe I shouldn't have been as shocked as I was. But when I searched this up and I saw it, I literally sat there and like stared at the screen like I could not get past it and I could not believe that this was real. Like people were talking about it on like a military forum. Oh, this is the verse that I was taught. This is the verse that my drill sergeant taught me. Multiple different sites have posted these verses and people in forums have said that they learned these in the military. Okay? Keep that in mind. Here we go, some examples. She's got a tracheotomy, she can breathe while giving head to me. She might not live out the night, so she won't put up a fight. I'm always guaranteed a blow because she cannot say no. She can't get out of bed, still she can give me head. She's had an episiotomy, that's a bigger hole for me. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? Writing an entire song about, you know, your girlfriend being like blown up in a war to the point where, you know, she's like got no arms or legs and she's like in a coma is already fucked up, right? That's already fucked up in itself, being like, haha, my girl's a vegetable, lol. To then make it into, yeah, but you know what? Since my girlfriend's like on life support, it means that I can do whatever the fuck I want. It means I can do whatever the fuck I want and no one can stop me because she can't say no. There was another one that I saw that was, my girl, she passed away, but I hit it anyway. So, you know, because yeah, it's not enough to make fun of, you know, the fact that people get horrifically injured in violence and laughing about the fact that your girlfriend is in hospital, but also we've got to come in here and sexually assault her and joke about sexually assaulting women, being like, you know what, it's actually a really good thing when my girlfriend's in hospital and she's like in a coma and on life support, because it means I can do whatever the fuck I want to her. I can do whatever the fuck I want with absolutely no consequences. No one's gonna stop me. She can't stop me. What's she gonna do? She can't say no. Oh, she's had surgery and so now there's a bigger hole for me? I cannot believe it. And I posted about this on TikTok because I needed to share it with someone immediately. And one of the comments was being like, well, yeah, but they have to desensitize the military to violence, right? They have to commit horrific acts of violence, so they need to be like desensitizing them. And like, yeah, I get that. It's fucked up, and we'll get into that in a minute. But like, gun violence and like violence of like fighting and whatever is a very separate thing to this type of violence. This is not, you do not need to be desensitized to this. This does not have to be a normalized thing. This is completely separate, a completely separate issue, and is absolutely like, there is no need for you to do this. This is just purely because these people are absolutely horrible. And I think this really reflects the nature of the people who voluntarily enlist in the military. So yeah, that's how I was introduced to this world of military cadences, through this man just singing about, you know, assaulting your partner in like the worst way possible and being like, but it's so good, it's so cool, we love doing that. So that was my introduction. It doesn't get worse because I don't think it's possible to get worse, but it is still so horrifying. So we're gonna have a look at a few others that I also just kind of listened to and was like, what is going on? What is happening? Why is this a thing? And how is this real? And how is this man recording these all onto an album? This is the background to him, right? Because I didn't mention it. All he does is post these military cadences, and he is like compiling them all to put on CDs to like sell, and they're to bring comfort to people. They bring comfort to people who were in the military. A lot of comments are from like veterans being like, oh, this brings me so much comfort. This makes me so happy. I like feel so comforted when I listen to these. And that's so concerning because for starters, that's one of them, right? My Girl's a Vegetable. That's on an album that people are buying and listening to for comfort purposes. And the next one and all the others share the same sort of comments. So keeping that in mind, once again, let's move on to the next one, shall we? No limit to the limit, I thought I told you. You don't want to go to war with a soldier. Oh, I want to slap somebody. Oh, I want to hurt somebody. Oh, I want to leave them bloody. Oh, I want to kill somebody. Ooh, I want to bury their body. Motivated, dedicated, I thought I told you. Hey, you don't want to go to war with a soldier because I want to slap somebody. I want to hurt somebody. I want to leave them bloody. Actually, I want to kill somebody and bury their body. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do today. That's why I'm joining the military. I'm joining the military because I like to end lives. I want to bury people. That's why I joined the military. And like, listen, once again, like I know, I know this. We knew this, right? This is like common knowledge that we have, but it's not the way they try to depict themselves. You know what I mean? Like there is so much like propaganda around the military, especially in the US, where it's like, you know, they're protecting the country, they're fighting for your freedom. They're like, you should say thank you to the soldiers and to the veterans and to the military because it's like you're protecting our country. Thank you for your service. You're like keeping the peace and we love you. And it's like, and then they're there being like, yeah, let's fucking kill people. Those two images are not the same thing. You cannot be here being like, these guys, they're the good guys. Our military, they're the good guys. They're protecting us. They fight for peace and for freedom. And they're like, I'm just here because I like to hurt people. I'm just here because I can shoot people. That's why I'm here. It's wild. Like I've never like openly heard them sort of talking about that. You know what I mean? Like everything I see about the US military is talking about how great and important they are for like protecting peace and like helping people. And again, we know that's not actually what's happening, right? Like we know, but to hear it from them is like another thing completely, right? Like, I mean, at least they're self-aware, but like the fact that this is happening and they're talking about this and like no one else is talking about it and they're like pretending that's not a thing that's being said, it's fascinating to me. And this one is one of the ones that has a lot of comments being like, this is so comforting. I remember singing this. This was like such a good one. This is one of my favorites. And there's one comment on this one in particular that really got me, which is, you helped me so much accepting who I am. Your music brings me peace in myself. Thank you, sir. Like, on this specifically, you've helped me accept who I am. You mean someone who likes taking life? You shouldn't accept that. You should feel bad about that. Actually, you help me feel comfortable with myself and feel at peace. You shouldn't. If you have like signed up to the military to go out and kill people and then you feel like a monster for doing that and you feel guilt over it, good. You should feel like a monster. You should feel guilty over doing that. Yeah? Like, like that's wild. That's wild. You make me feel so at peace. This song makes me feel at peace. The song being, I want to hurt somebody. That brings you peace? No. No. You don't deserve to feel peace for feeling that, actually. And I know that people who have PTSD think that there is a difference between experiencing PTSD from having to commit an act of violence and from being in a situation where you were forced to commit acts of violence, and also saying that you enjoyed doing that, right? Like, the enjoyment of it is objectively the worst part. I don't think anyone should be finding any sort of peace in anything along the lines of this, actually. Another one along similar lines of this one is this one. 240 Bravo, locked, cocked, and loaded. Bullets are flying, people are dying. These are the weapons that I go to war with. These are the weapons that I like to kill with. M249, locked, cocked, and loaded. Ammo depleted, never defeated. These are the weapons that I go to war with. And again, the fact that we're just out here being like, hell yeah, I have big gun and I love it because I love killing people. Yeah! I feel like it's not meant to be enjoyable, right? Like, oh my god. Oh my god. And again, I know why they do it, right? Like, they are being taught these songs and singing these songs constantly because they have to be desensitized to this violence. Because they're like instructors, drill sergeants, whatever, I don't know all the right terminology, they're higher ups, whatever, want them to be in a state where they are desensitized, to which they can go out and they can end lives without thinking about it, without feeling guilty. They need to make you into, effectively, a killing machine, right? Because then you'll do whatever you have to. But there are so many problems with this. Firstly, what the fuck? No. No. I think having soldiers who are trigger happy and don't value human life is so dangerous. You shouldn't just be able to like shoot someone and be like, hell yeah, done, and not feel anything. That's so scary. That's so scary. So many people to like feel good about committing such terrible acts of violence is so scary and so fucked up. And the fact that like he's out here like recording these and putting them on CDs and everyone is like, oh my god, I love this. I miss being in the military. These bring me so much comfort. Like, just the fact that there are like tens of thousands, if not fucking hundreds of thousands or millions of people experience feeling this way is so scary. Like, the brainwashing that exists is so scary. Like, obviously, the people who are signing up and getting to this point are already people who don't particularly care about committing those acts of violence. But to then continue to further desensitize that, to create just a bunch of people who will just happily take a life just because they can, and thinking that that's a good thing, like that's the correct thing to be doing, and then to still have so many people, like most of the country, defending them and saying that this is good and this is what should be happening. I just don't understand. I don't understand. It's so baffling. And once again, there are so many concerning comments on this one. One of them being, he's the reason I got so obsessed with the military and wanting to go into the army. You were commenting that on a song that is literally the entire song is, I have a weapon loaded and I like to kill people with it. And the comment is, you're why I want to go to the military. That's so fucking scary. It's just people who want to get away with committing violence signing up to be able to do that without consequence. It's just the fact that it like continues to really hammer home the fact that the military is just a way for violent people to sign up to commit that violence without consequences. It is these people who are seeing this man being like, hey, you know what happens in the military? They give you a big loaded weapon and you get to kill people. And then people are like, oh shit, I want to do that. I'm going to go sign up to the military. And you're not concerned? Like, we're not going to have a conversation about this? People are going to go to this person who's like, you made me want to sign up to the military, being like, hell yeah, you go do that. You should do that. We need more people in the military. Good for you. I think we should be getting them help, actually. I think that, like, they're a bit of a danger to society, right? And I guess going to the military gets them out of society, but all it does then is it puts them in someone else's, and then they're, like, hurting people. For what? For their country? No. That's unnecessary. And another comment that really got me is this one that's from this mother, and she wrote, I bought all your CDs and a t-shirt. You are my son's favorite artist to listen to. I have a huge favor to ask. My son has Tourette syndrome and he was ticking one day and broke the CD case that has your signature on it. He was devastated. He cried his heart out. He is 11 years old. Is there any way you can mail him a signed picture of you or something I can frame and put on the wall to keep it safe? It would mean the world to him. I'll send you money for it and shipping. And like, the only lyrics to this song are, these are the weapons that I have. These are the weapons that I like to kill people with. Those are the only lyrics. And you're like, my 11-year-old son fucking loves this song. He loves you. He loves all of your songs. I bought him all your CDs. You bought your 11-year-old child just a bunch of CDs where the overall theme is hell yeah, violence. Hell yeah, guns. And these are the same fucking people that sit here and say that we, queer people, are grooming children. They say that we are taking away kids' innocence. They say that we are harming children and brainwashing them and filling their brains with all kinds of nonsense. We are telling kids, you can love whoever you want to love, and it doesn't matter. Literally, what we are telling children is that it is okay to be yourself. You don't have to be afraid to be yourself. It's okay. It is normal. Do whatever you want as long as you aren't hurting people. And that's a problem, apparently. That's us grooming children. That is us, like just enforcing such terrible, horrible, like violent ideas into these kids. Meanwhile, they're out here being like, my kid, his favorite songs are about how much he enjoys healing people, I got my kid an album that is all about how great the US military is. It is all about how great violence is and how you should sign up for the military because it means you get to get away with violence and it means you're doing, like, that's okay. That's fine. Promoting violence to children, totally fine. So good, so chill. Telling kids they're allowed to be who they are, bad, evil, how dare you. I just, cannot even begin to understand these people. I just, the fact that they think that, being trans is worse than, being a fucking murderer. They would rather their kid commit a mass shooting than, be gay, is basically what I'm hearing from this. They would rather their kids go and commit, the most cruel and horrible crimes than to just be happy. And that's so sad and so fucked up, and it makes me so angry. And on these lines of children and grooming children in this way, he did one of these with his son. His son is 2, by the way, and that's this. When I was 1, I got my first gun. When I was 2, boy, I could shoot. When I was 3, I chopped down my first tree. When I was 4, I kicked in my first door. My daddy, hey, my daddy, hey, my daddy was infantry. Having your 2-year-old child sing back to you, when I was 1, I got my first gun. When I was 2, I learned how to shoot. And this is fine. This is okay. That's fine. This whole song is about, having military dad and being my dad went out and he fought for us. My dad is the best because he fights for our country. Which is why me, as an infant fucking child, was given a weapon that could take lives. Because my dad's great. I don't take that away from this. Yeah, the comments on this as well are you're a great father. You look like a great dad. This is what real father-son connection looks like. I'm just blown away. Maybe I shouldn't be as shocked as I am. But I am. But I am. Because, like, I just don't understand how these people can, like, say these things and think that they're being good. Like, how are these people saying these things and, like, thinking they're the good guys, right? How are you being like, I gave a gun to my 1-year-old. I taught him how to shoot when he was 2. When he was 4, he kicked in a door. Like, I'm so proud of him. In what world is teaching a child to, like, handle a weapon that's entire purpose is to end lives? Like, how is teaching a child how to use that making you a good person? In what world does that make you the good guy? I just don't understand how these people can be out here and, like, saying all of this and teaching all of this and being like, we are correct. Yeah, those of us who enjoy violence and sign up for it, we are the good guys. No, you're not. No, you're not. Even if you wanted to look at the conflict itself, even if you want to look at the conflict that's happening and be like, the US, we are the good guys, which, no, but okay. Even if you wanted to do that, the ones who are directly signing up to go into these places specifically to fight, you're not a good guy. I'm sorry. If you are signing up specifically for a job where your job is to go and, like, hurt people, you're not the good guy. You never have been and you never will be. Like, I understand back in, you know, World War I, World War II or whatever, it was, like, mandatory. You didn't have a choice. In which case it's like, all right, you didn't have a choice. I can't really fault you for something that you didn't have a choice in. Now though, and in these specific situations, it is entirely you. And I know that there's a lot of brainwashing and propaganda that goes into it, but if I were to sign up to the military, because I feel like the military in the US is a whole massive big conversation, because obviously targets people who are, you know, in lower income and who have a lower education, because, you know, they provide a lot of things. So, like, you get a lot of benefits, you get a good salary, you have access to healthcare and all of that. And so they do prey on people who are not as knowledgeable about the situation. They don't really have any background information other than what they are being told and fed, which is a lot of propaganda. And they also, you know, may not have other job prospects. Like, this is a very secure thing to do. So I understand how some of the people end up in the military. However, if you are then going into an area where they are singing songs like this, being like, we like to kill people, we like weapons, I gave my son a gun, and then you stay, you know, like, I just feel like at that point it is your fault. And I've lost a lot of sympathy for you, because to my knowledge, there are a lot of sectors of the military, right? And not all of them are violent. I think that most of them are unnecessary, but, like, you can surely not choose the ones that are, you know, talking about assaulting their girlfriends and teaching kids how to use weapons and having fun hurting people. Like, if you are willingly choosing to be there, never are you ever the good guy. Ever. There's another one that, like, not even going into the actual cadence itself, I just want to talk about the on-screen text for a second, because the on-screen text over the song says, the average elementary school has more combat experience than me, but I'm still calling this cadence. I don't care. It's unfortunately true, right? It is unfortunately true. There are a lot of schools that have been war zones. There are a lot of schools who have been targeted by horrific acts of violence, and a lot of lives have been ended. But, like, actively putting on screen saying that elementary schools experience conflict zones more than actual soldiers do, and then saying that, like, over the top of singing a song promoting gun violence, like, unfathomable to me. The fact that there is, like, no self-awareness, or at the very least just a huge amount of ignorance and, like, just a lack of caring it's again so terrifying. Like, just casually being like, elementary schools are a war zone. What can you do? Nothing. I still love my firearms, and I'm gonna teach my child how to shoot. I'm gonna encourage him to sign up for war when he's of age. And I just can't believe it. I, like, truly cannot even begin to understand these people even a little bit. And none of the comments were even talking about that. I'm pretty sure I didn't misinterpret that. I can't think of how else to interpret that. And I just think the fact that they like view like school shootings as just a part of life, as something that they can joke about in this way. I just can't fucking do it. I cannot believe that these are not only real songs, but that they like feel the way that they do and have such like no empathy at all. And again, makes sense that there's like no empathy or care for human life at all. But my God, you have a 3-year-old son and you're out here being like, primary schools are war zones. I love war zones. I did not grow up around military propaganda. I've never really understood what the military is for, like what the army is for. Like we have the army back home, obviously, but I've always been like, I don't know what they do. I don't know what they're for. We are not fighting anyone. And it was never like talked about or promoted or anything like that. I think we had an army van come to school one time and they only talked to kids who were like expressed interest in it. They weren't trying to talk to anyone who had never expressed interest in it before. So the only military I've really ever heard about in this capacity is the US military. And I feel like a lot of them don't realize how other countries we don't have that. We don't function like that. The military is not a big part of us. It's just not a massive thing. It's not constantly being shoved in our faces. We aren't constantly talking about how great our military is. Like, okay, maybe we're not out in conflict in so many places, and that's why the US military doesn't have to be either, right? It's built so much on propaganda of being like, we are under attack. We have to have the military and we have to put trillions of dollars annually into it so that we can protect our country. We have to send you out to go fight in these conflicts because they are a threat to us. Literally no one is a threat to you. No one is a threat to the US. No one at all. No one is coming after a country that holds like most of the world's nuclear weaponry, who could literally like ruin the world 8 times over. Like, you are not under threat. Like, ever. It's just not happening. And the fact that you have allowed yourself to believe that your country needs defending is astounding. Like, it's just not fucking happening. I'm sorry. And then half the fucking countries that, like, their military is out in and is, like, fighting in conflict or, like, helping, the conflict there was started by you in the fucking first place. It's all just a power play, and everyone in the military is just a pawn in this game. They don't mind because they like having the excuse to commit these horrible acts of violence, and that's why they sign up for it. You know, it is such a wider problem of, obviously, in the US, you grow up with, like, pledging allegiance to the flag, and, like, the national anthem is sung all the time, and, like, there's so much that is done to be like, you have to defend your country, and trying to convince you that your country is under threat when it literally, it isn't. People need to step away and, like, think outside of what they're being told and, like, use some critical thinking and, like, assess things. But yeah, it's so scary that, you know, such violence is being, you know, promoted and, like, encouraged. Even more scary still that it brings people comfort. But yeah, I feel like I don't know enough about the military to have, like, a really long, in-depth conversation. So that was very surface level, just based on, like, the bits of research and things I've done over the years, and from conversations that I've had with American people who have, like, experienced this sort of propaganda and who have even, like, considered joining the military because of it. So let me know if you have any more information or any thoughts on any of this kind of stuff, because obviously I'm not American, so I'm coming at it from an outside perspective, but I feel like sometimes the outside perspective in situations where you've been so brainwashed your entire lives is important, actually. So, you know, this has been my piece. I did not expect to open Instagram to this. And I really wish that I hadn't, but, you know, I've had a good vent now. I hope that you are all equally horrified with me, And I'm so sorry to have ruined your day. A huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons. Polar Bee, Sienna, Alicia, Marielle, Bree, Bay the Trucker, Chastity, Beckett, Prismatic Petey, Sushi Kawaii, Phil the Duck, Jessie, River, Queen Glimmer, Ella, Mr. Noodle, Radsack, Knitting Menace, Chris, Ellie, Alexis, and Bobby. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Wow. When you close your eyes, you replay